I'm Larry Charles Freeman. I'm one of the third generation farmer. But well, my grandfather bought 160 acres right here. Although I took an annex and added 40 acres up here and 20 over there. So I'll be farming about 150 acres as far as the farm is made up. But where we started from were 1873, August. It's about 5 or 6 years after slavery.
Wow.
So, and we still have the same documents holding on. And I never met my grandfather. And what it were, he was a farmer, not beef cattle farming. After I got here, I started doing beef cattle. They just had, only cows that they had on was to supply them for milk and get the fat and the butter out of it. But I'm doing it trying to sell cow calf and send it to the market. But they raised like row cropping, like peas, butter beans, and those things. But to start off with, he bought this place for $1,285, $1,285, what he paid for his property at that time, and it took them 3 years to pay for that, him and his brothers. So $1,200 must have been a lot of money. It took him 3 years to get it. Plus he put a down payment on it, and he had 3 payments. I don't know if it was bond for deed or how they did it. I think it was just a handshake in those days. And one of the most amazing things about it was my daddy keeps saying his daddy couldn't read or write. So I don't know who was assisting this guy to get all this paperwork done and going through the process of it. But they say he couldn't read, so on the documents, he signed his name with an X. So
Wow.
he must have been knowing. But then he turned around and say he always had the Bible in his hand, reading it, but he said he couldn't read or write. So I don't know. The old folks tell you a lot of stuff. That's what he told me. But what it were, they was trying to pass this land down to us, and we didn't understand it because this land follow a lot of history, just like when they had the Great Migration. And but mostly black people left from the South and moved, like in the 20s, 1920s. My daddy and all them, they left here because they couldn't get regular jobs or whatever, and nobody wanted to be farmed. They didn't want to be connected to the farm. And all those people, they left. Some of them went to New York, some went to Chicago. My daddy went to Chicago, like early 40s. During the World War II, he came back and he started farming. And that way he met his wife over in Self Quarters, and he married her because he was hauling her over here to pick strawberries. That's the family we started like in the 40s. I've been farming for all my life, and he farmed. But they were doing it for survival. They weren't doing it so much for the market, although they sold a lot, but we had to supply, we had to cook the fat and make lard and preserve the cane. We had cane, sugar cane, buttermilk. We did all that right here, and we smoked our meat and ate it. But that was back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Yeah, it's heir property. I mean, we don't have no problems, nobody right now, but I just like to have clear deeds so I could do better. I would like to try to transfer it over to one person or divide it or whatever, but it's an issue, My grandfather passed this land over to, which he had like 8 kids. And the sad part about it were they call themselves being smart at those times. In those times, my aunties and my uncles and all those people that were connected to this, when my grandfather passed, they did a succession. Instead of them placing it into each one of those people's name, they was afraid because on those times, mostly extremely, if a white person to come in, that's what they say, if a white person come in and buy one strip of it, he'd take the whole 160 acres. So that's what they call themselves being smart, but it left me in a dilemma because they had to keep having successions and placing in the name, have a succession on my dad, and all these, in order to keep it connected. And it's hard for me to pass it on because a lot of these people I never met, I don't even know some of them, and they call themselves being smart by not dividing it up, but they never did survey and give each one of them their equal share of it. Mm-hmm. So we still trying to figure out how to deal with that. Well, it wasn't but 8 peoples, and 2 or 3 the brothers and sisters died with no kids, so you're talking about less than 5 heirs, but they had so many kids, the grandkids and all them placed their name on it. It wasn't the original peoples, and we don't even know if it's true facts. We never met these peoples, and they up in, one of them was in New York and some of them in Chicago. We never met these people, but they got a lawyer down here, a local lawyer, to place their name on the deed. So, and that lawyer, I definitely don't trust him, the one that did it. He just hacked it up, put it on there. So, and we'll have to go through, I don't know what we'll have to go through to get it clear. Take a lot of money, to do a research on that whole deal. I own almost 50% of it because what I did, I bought my auntie and one of my first cousins out. They share of it, but it's still undivided. But I got a big share of it. And my brother, his auntie donated to him. See, we didn't understand. We like 10-year-old, think about it, 10-year-old and 65. We wasn't thinking about what they was trying to do. My uncle, he was trying to transitional, and we didn't understand paperwork. You like 8, 9 years old, you don't have what you thinking about. But they was trying to put us into that transitional thing and get us to understand, but we didn't take advantage of it. When I bought this share, I must have been about 25 years old, and one of the aunties, she was wanting to get out of it, and I just bought her out, and then I turned around and bought a second one out. So, and we had a couple aunties died with no kids, so that's why I say I own almost 50% of it. But I would have to go through the proper channels of dividing it up or have a succession or whatever. Well, my thing is, I just try to be flat out honest with my family members. Like if I get any type of surplus, I make sure I divide it up equally and try to be honest about everything. If I have any legal issues or anything, I take it to them and explain it to them all. Just like they got guys wanting to come out here, they might give you $1,000, $2,000, and I'll let them know I take that money, try to pay taxes with it or whatever, and then that way, when the taxes come up, I won't bother them about it. So I got a good, free, honest relationship with them. Try to stay like that, And if I ever was to have a big surplus of anything, I would share it with them. If when I sell some of the timber off, I always, they come around and I'll get them their equal share of it, like when we sell. Like a lot of time families, they get into it because of, this mistrust or whatever. Because, I appreciate them. For me to be here with 160 acres, then I got 40 up there and 20 over there, that's big for me. And I just got, my brother live down there, my son live here, and my brother there. So I don't have no issues with my family. I got a pretty good relationship. If you have to deal with your family members, one of the best things is try to develop trust. And just be honest with them, because that's one of the biggest issues. If they stop trusting you, you're going to have issues. So one of the things I try to encourage everybody, keep good records. Make sure you pay your taxes. That's one of the things I keep, I keep that up and maintaining my taxes. And try to do all the paperwork possible to be current with everything. Because if you get behind, man, it'll be hell to catch up. And so I try to stay current with my taxes, any type of paperwork. When I returned back here, I started out bad. I say I started out bad because I didn't take it to do it as a business. I started out just because it was here and I was just trying to maintain the property and keep it going, but I lost time by not creating and being incorporated and having it as a business. I was just doing it. Wasn't even paying taxes on it at the time, and then everybody kept encouraging me. After I got better schooling from LSU, I am a master cattleman, which I went to LSU. Then I went to Southern for leadership award, which I did a year over there. And I got all those documents and how to farm and how to organize yourself. So I try to do a little bit better on the bookworking, and I hate doing bookworking, but that's one of the things. I've been I gave my son a cow to try to get him involved. He gave the cow back to me. Yeah. So, I would love to see and keep it as a farm, but I don't know, But I'm trying to get my grandkids involved in it, which they, say they like it right now, and they bought them one little cow, and I'm just trying to train them. But that's what it is. I'm trying to transfer it over to my grandkids, because I don't think my sons or none of them, nobody interested in farming. That's why I say I grab my grandkids, and they just love it, But they thinking riding around on the four-wheeler, that's what they enjoy, and just seeing and count how many cows and come back and they say, they're okay, Grandpa. But that's the way it is, and that's what got me to this point. Right now, you can see how we were devastated with the storm, all my buildings tore down and idle, and that's what we're doing now. In order to get any benefit, we got to clean this up in order for the government to reimburse for anything. So I'm in the process of trying to do all that, and it's just in a bad situation right now. But we hanging in there, and I enjoy it. We got a meeting planned this weekend with my family. So I'm talking about just my personal family. I try to talk to them because they want me to discuss what if I become, why I can't operate, who would I like to be in charge. And my lawyer told me I need to assign. I was wanting to put 2 or 3 people in charge. He said, bad idea. He told me I need just one single one, because a lot of time the kids, you need an issue to be done, and the kids can't solve it because they got, 2 different ideas. So he advised me I just need to choose one. So I'm going to give one of them the power of attorney, and I was supposed to do that this Labor Day weekend, talk about it, sit down, try to explain to them where I'm at. Because a lot of them, they don't be knowing what I'm doing, so it's a good deal to explain to somebody else beside myself, and what I own and don't own. So we're going to have that this weekend coming up, supposed to. Well, I love to be connected that far back, because when they was trying to do research around here, I was like one of the only guys that could go back that far. And the sad part about it, this wasn't the only farm in this parish, but it's got a lot of them. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they didn't know how to manage or whatever, but this wasn't the only one like this. But there was several other pieces of property around here, large pieces of property, what we call large, 160 acres is large for us. But for me to still be connected and tell the story, it's awesome, to go that far back, which I never met my grandfather. I don't know, my grandfather. I just go by what my dad and my father told me. But it's like 3 different generations been keeping this going, and we was awarded in 2017 an award for being farming in the same site for more than 100 years. So I accepted that award, and it was a great thing. I think about it all the time, that I got a good relationship to have this much property and being able to run the cows, But I just worry kind of about the future, Who gonna come next, A lot of time, most kids, the first thing they think about sale. Let's sell, and that's what I just trying to teach them to understand, to hold on to real estate. If you don't put no work in it, it's easy for you to sell it. But if you're here and you're working it like I am, you put something into it. So they don't have nothing into it also. All they want that quick dollar. I just pray that they do the right thing with it. Well, I would like to have all those fence rows cleared and have maybe 100 head of cow, beef cows, and try to have my grandkids involved with me, or one of the kids, or my son or daughter, trying to encourage, but they go through this. See, they always ask where the money at, and it's very little money I can show them. That's the first thing they want to know, the money part. If you could show them some money, then you could encourage them, but there's not much money into a farm, But that's what I'm trying to do, show them the benefit that I got some equipment here. They have a good head start. I keep talking to them, trying to encourage them to come in and be concerned and try to keep it that way. I had my grandson on, and the first thing he say, build a subdivision. I say, I know I don't want him involved. I got to get rid of him quick. He said, once you put up a subdivision, we won't have to be out here cleaning this up, man. He said, put a subdivision. I said, wow. I know I ain't going to leave it with him. I would hate to see a subdivision. I'm trying to keep it as a farm. A lot of people see them dollar signs, the first thing they holler, let's get together and sell it, and that's what I kind of worry about. Well, he started out with $1,200, and we go all the way up to almost $1 million. I don't know. It's just trying to teach and get them to have some understanding about the value of the land and take care of it, be good stewardship. That's why I was trying to do all I can to get all the paperwork together to try to roll it over to maybe my grandkids. That's my transition.